What's up, friends? I got a brand new video for you today, and today we're going to take a look at the new light, the LD150R, and I don't stress lights enough, and they're way more important than the actual camera and lens that you're using. So let's take a look at this light because lights are important. So Godox actually released three new light panels, and this is the biggest of the three. Comes in at 24.4 inches by 17 inches, which makes it a pretty big LED panel. In terms of size, like dimensions, it's actually bigger than the Arri Skypanel S60. Obviously it doesn't have the same output, that's almost double the output, but this light's only 150 watts. That's also what's gonna keep it competitive. It comes in at $9.99 USD, and you know, the Skypanel is like 5 times the price of that. The light comes in a really nice padded case. The power brick is in there as well as the power cable. There's no included Velcro power strip to actually hold the power brick to an actual light stand or a clamp or anything. And I'll talk about a solution for that a little bit later in the video. They've also included a metal barn door for the panel. I'm not a huge fan of barn doors on an LED panel, but it is included. It's typically something you'd actually have to buy as an add-on accessory, but you can pop them off easy because they're kind of in a spring-loaded clip. The power brick doesn't include like a V-mount plate on it like most pro lights do, but the V-mount plate is actually on the back of the light. Godox is making some really quality lights right now, and I'd say in terms of build quality and materials, it's as good as anything Aperture is putting out or similar competitors. And the light output is rated at 96 CRI, which is amazing. Obviously the build quality is really good on this light, and it's using top-notch materials like metals and plastics. It's using some like heavy-duty plastics on the corners, and most of the frame of the light is actually all metal. And on the right side of the light is a knob for tightening the yoke. That's so you can adjust the light up or down. The only thing I would say is that the spigot on the bottom that you attach the light to a light stand kind of feels a little bit cheap. So obviously this panel is full RGBW, and you have full control over any color. You've got gels, you've got effects, so let's take a look at that. To turn the light on, there's a switch on the bottom right. The menu is really simple and intuitive. I did find that some of the knobs are weird, but you get used to that for each mode. So you can easily adjust the intensity, saturation, and cycle through all the colors from these three knobs, which are kind of laid out in the same order they appear on the screen. When jumping to CCT, it has a range of 2500 Kelvin to 8500 Kelvin with the ability to shift the color temperature from green or magenta. They've also included Roscoe and Lee gels that correspond with the exact gel number, so if you need to match a light that has a gel on it on set, you can do that easily. And of course, there's 16 built-in effects in this light like lightning, camera flash, candlelight, and fire. You can easily adjust the speed of the effect by pressing down on the yellow button, and you can cycle through 3 different speeds. I don't know if many of the effects are useful, but I was having fun with them here. So you might have wondered what the 4 color buttons do at the bottom, and that's to save your own custom preset. Really easy to do. All you have to do is press down and hold a button for a couple seconds and it'll save your current setting. And it's really nice to have 4 different presets. So I asked Godox if they could send out 2 of these lights when they asked if I wanted to review it, because I did have an upcoming project that could have used 2 of these panels. And unfortunately, by the time they showed up, it was too late and I wasn't able to use them on that project. But I was able to use them on a music video as a key light, and I brought them into the studio there and shot with that. The cool thing is there is a softbox built for these lights. It doesn't come included, it's a separate thing, but the softbox is really nice. It just slips on over top of the light. It's already half pre-built. All you have to do is put the support rods in on the sides and then you're up and running. And this is gonna give the light a really nice soft feel to it, a nice soft diffusion, and it's gonna look really, really smooth. So the panel does have kind of like a frosted plastic lens cover that goes over the LEDs, and LEDs are really harsh, so that's not gonna look all that soft unless you have that diffusion like I mentioned before. But if you do want a hard LED look, like a hard light look, it's pretty cool just to leave everything off. I used that on a photo shoot recently where I just had hard red light coming down on the model, and I think it looked really cool. We got some really cool images that way. It also gives kind of a hard shadow as well. When it comes to light output, I don't have any fancy light measuring tools to see how, correct the light is or how bright things are. But I did do a little test where I just kind of stood in front of the light. I had the camera at ISO 100 and I had everything set to 100% on the light. I think my camera was like set actually pretty high. So, at ISO 100, it looked really dark in there. So I had the light cranked at 100% and I switched between HSI, RGB, and just the regular CCT. And when I switched between the HSI to the CCT, you can see that the CCT is quite a bit brighter. So it's similar to the SZ150R light that I reviewed a while ago, where the RGB was like almost half as bright as the CCT. And so that's something I noticed on this panel as well, but it's not nearly as drastic. Instead of it being like half, it's more like maybe 75% or 80% of what the CCT would be putting out. And some colors are actually brighter than others. So if you get into something like the reds or the oranges, you can actually see that it'll clip my skin. It's a lot brighter than some of the other colors. Of course, this light can also connect to the Godox Light app via Bluetooth, which will also work with all of Godox's newer light products. If you've never used the app before, you'll have to make a studio in which you're going to add your lights to. I never had any real issues connecting Godox lights to this app. They always automatically show up and they're super easy to connect. Once you've got the light added, you just go to the scene control and you can make all of your lighting adjustments in there. So once you're in your scene control, you have all the options to change your RGB, HSI, CCT. Any setting that's on the back of the light is also in this app, and it's really fast and responsive. The light does have a couple fans in it, because obviously this thing's gonna get hot at 150 watts, the big panel. But those fans run continuous. They don't ramp up or slow down, so they're gonna have the same speed. If there was even any sound, you could remove that in post, but there isn't even any sound. They run silently. You can turn those fans off, but you are limited to 50% power output. So between the CCT and the RGB or HSI, you can only go at 50% when those fans are turned off. But honestly, I don't even see a reason to turn off the fans, since they don't make enough noise that you'd audibly hear them in a mic anyway. So as I mentioned, the light does come with barn doors, and you know, it's kind of a weird thing to include with an LED panel, but they are included with this LED panel. There is kind of a weird rod that goes up through the middle that I guess keeps it tight in there. That's kind of weird because it's kind of blocking the middle of the LED panel, but that's how they decided to construct it. It's really easy to take off. There's spring-loaded clamps kind of in each corner of the light, and you just push down and pull it out, and then it's out of the way. There's also another attachment you get for this light, which is like a honeycomb grid. You can't actually put the grid into the light itself. It actually has to clip into the barn doors in the back, and then you have to put the barn doors on. I don't know why they designed it this way, maybe so that you could have both at the same time, but that's how you would clip in the grid if you want to use the grid. So I'm basically at the part of the video where I pretty much covered everything that I can cover on this light. So we need to talk about some of the cons, some of the things that I don't really like about this light. The first thing is the power brick. I mentioned this before, there was no way to actually mount it to a light stand or anything. Some lights come with like a clip-in thing that can go in the V-mount plate or like a Velcro strap, and this light didn't come with anything. But the cool thing is I found this strap on Amazon, and this strap came in a box of like 10, so there's like 10 of these things. They got like a rubber, there's kind of like a rubber thing on the elastic part, and then it's got a hoop here. So you just put the grippy side in, stretch it around like that, pull on it, tighten it down, and that's not going anywhere. The grippy part is just gripping right onto the stand, and these are actually really nice straps for this. And the second thing I noticed that was kind of annoying is that all the in and outputs kind of face directly down right towards the yoke. So if you have cables plugged into it and they kind of stick out like that much, if you're trying to bend the light up, they kind of hit or drag on the bottom half of the yoke. So that's kind of annoying, and you got to pay attention to that so that you don't break off any cables or the jacks. So you got to kind of hold the cables back when you swivel it. The third thing is kind of weird. They used a 26 volt V-mount plate on this light, and 26 volt V-mount batteries are not common, and they're also really expensive if you do buy them. Most lights would typically put 2 regular 14 volt V-mount plates on the light, and they didn't do this on this light, so that's kind of weird. But you can always get like a pure sine wave battery bank from somewhere that can run this much power, and you can take the light anywhere at that point because you're kind of running it off like AC basically. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something. Lights are super important. You wouldn't be able to get the type of images that you're going to be getting without lights. So, you know, if you're thinking about picking up one of these lights, I'll put a link in the description where to pick that up. Again, it's $9.99 US. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give it a thumbs down twice. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.